Hey there, welcome to the Not Just Momma podcast, the show where we talk about building businesses, chasing dreams, raising little yous, and keeping it real through all the chaos. We're diving into mindset, motivation, and all things mompreneur life, all while microwaving our coffee for the 20 millionth time. I'm your host, Heather Madsen, a dream-chasing mompreneur who knows exactly what it's like to juggle big ambitions with a million daily tasks. Because let's be honest, we're not just moms. We're wives, we're partners, we're daughters, friends, creators, dreamers, and so much more. And just because we're raising little tiny humans doesn't mean we have to put our dreams on the back burner. We deserve to chase them, build something incredible, and make a difference, all while being amazing moms. So go ahead and nuke that coffee once again and get comfy, because we're diving in. Hey, so have you ever opened up your phone and kind of just stared at your screen and thought, okay, what am I supposed to talk about today? Because I have many days like that, and today is kind of one of those days. I mean, there are so many days where my brain just feels blank, like between everything I have to do in this, mom life. And sometimes it just feels like there's no creativity left in me at all, like it's gone. So, if you're trying to show up online, build a business, post on social media, if that's your thing, start a podcast, or just write emails, that feeling can be very discouraging when you don't have anything to talk about. You start maybe thinking that everyone else has so much to say, because if you look around, it seems like everyone has endless content to share, right? But anyways, you start thinking that you have nothing to talk about and you don't understand why everyone else has something to say except you. Like, why do you feel stuck? So today we are talking about what to do when you feel like you have absolutely nothing to talk about and how to find endless ideas from your everyday life. So, you know what's funny? Most of the time, I feel like I have nothing to talk about. And it's not because I don't have ideas. It's kind of more because my brain is exhausted, right? Like, I'm not tired or sleepy. I'm just tired from carrying everything. And I mean, I feel like every mom would know what that feels like. I'm thinking about my kids. I'm thinking about my finances. I'm thinking about what's for dinner. I'm thinking about my online business. I'm thinking about what I didn't get done, maybe homeschool stress. I'm thinking about what I should be doing when I'm not doing it. So when I sit down to think of things to share in my life, like on this podcast, my mind kind of goes blank. And it's not because there's nothing inside that brain of mine, but just because there's too much going on, I guess. And I think a lot of moms are walking around like that today, right? We're full, but overwhelmed and maybe a bit overstimulated at times, right? And so when your brain is just kind of overloaded and you're feeling that overwhelm, creativity does not feel reachable, right? Am I right? So if you feel stuck, it doesn't mean you're boring or uncreative or you just don't have any bright ideas. It just means you probably need space to breathe before the ideas can come out. Okay. One of my favorite ways to come up with ideas is just talking about what I'm going through, okay? And if you think about it, everyone's going through something. So we need to find a way to relate to that. So if I'm overwhelmed, I talk about overwhelm. If I'm in a hard season of life, I talk about that season. And if I'm learning something, I share that and how you can avoid any mistakes, right? Something like that. And if you're struggling or if I'm struggling, right, I turn it into a message and an inspirational message to others so they don't have to struggle and you can give them a path, a way out before they even reach that struggle, if that makes sense. I mean, you don't have to be an expert at anything. You just have to be a human being who is learning and growing. And as long as you can share your insight to other people and relate to them, I think it's good. I mean, think about it. If your kids are in a new stage of life, like my kids went from being in a school setting to homeschool, it's a totally different change. I could talk about that if I want. That's content. If you are juggling too much as a mom or you're juggling too much at work, that's content. You can share how you navigate that and got through it, right? If you're working on your mindset, like if you've been in the dumps lately and you're trying to change your mindset, right? That's content. You can tell people how you worked on changing your mindset, what worked, what didn't. You know what I mean? Your real life is basically your message. And honestly, that's what people want. They want honesty and they don't want like super polished, perfect content, honestly. They want just relatable. Another thing that I think about when I don't have anything to talk about is just keeping a running list of ideas. Okay. This one has saved me quite a bit of times. And I keep a running list on my laptop. Okay. Anytime I get an idea, I add it to that list so I don't ever lose it. And I can go back to that list when I have nothing to talk about and be like, oh, I forgot about that. I can talk about that. So I mean, even using your phone, you can use your notes app. Nothing fancy, or write it down on a piece of paper like the old days, right? So anytime I think of something, I write it down, whether it's a thought, a quote, maybe a moment I had as a mom, any frustration that I have been going through and how I got through it. I write that down. Maybe something I accomplished that week is great, and eventually I may want to like talk about that. I write that down so I don't forget it. Or maybe something I've been working through and where I failed and where I've succeeded, right? So we do this because we don't want to not remember it later. You can be like several weeks down the road and not write it down and be really disappointed in yourself for not, because maybe it was something good or juicy. So we do this because your brain will not remember it later. Trust me. I mean, if you're anything like me, I have all these ideas running through my head like 24/7, it seems like. And I get so mad at myself when I don't write it down because I literally forget. I don't remember what I want to talk about. So yeah, that's why we do this. We don't want to not remember it later. Okay. And then when you're stuck and you do write it down, you open that list and suddenly you have 10 things you can talk about. It's amazing. All right. Next thing I kind of think about, and I haven't actually done this and I kind of want to in the future, but you can turn one idea into like a series of episodes, right? Like you can turn it into 5 episodes. So it's a really simple trick. And basically, you just take one topic and you ask yourself, and this would be for each episode, right? What did I learn from this? That's one episode. What caused this? That's another episode. How do I fix it? That's another episode. What would I tell a friend to do differently than I did? That's another episode. And episode 5 might be what was the hardest part you went through dealing with that, right? I'm just making stuff up. We all make stuff up, right? But those are just examples. Like you can turn one idea into a series of events. If you have a step by step process, you can literally take that and break it down into episodes. And it doesn't even have to be long episodes or even your social media content. You can just break it down into 5 days. And there you go. Monday through Friday is done. Basically, you don't need more ideas. You just need to use the ones that you already have a little better. All right. And here's another way I come up with content when I'm stuck. I usually ask myself, what do I wish someone would say to me right now? Okay, maybe I need encouragement at the moment, maybe some clarity on something, permission to rest, because we all need that as moms and we don't give it to ourselves enough, right? um, Maybe you're needing someone to say you're not behind, you're not failing, whatever, because maybe you're in a moment where you feel like you're failing. And maybe you need to take a step back and just look at yourself and realize that you're not failing or you're not behind, right? You're just kind of moving towards that goal, but in your own way. So, whatever you're craving and whatever you're feeling, I guarantee you there is another person out there in this world who is dealing with and navigating the same exact thing. Okay. So, if you're overwhelmed and somebody across the world is overwhelmed, talk about that. and you can relate to them that way, right? If you're feeling insecure about something, talk about that. If you're feeling tired, talk about that. If you're feeling stuck, talk about that. Because your content can come from the exact moment that you are currently in, right? And that's usually when you're feeling the strongest about it, right? When you're feeling more passionate about it. And that's usually when it'll hit people the right way, okay? Another thing that I try to remind myself is just to keep it simple, right? When I feel like nothing is flowing through my head, I just try to think about something simple that I can talk about. Cause I mean, we all like simple, right? So you don't need to be perfect in your message or inspirational every single time. Sometimes your content is just here's what I'm learning, here's what I'm struggling with, and here's what's helping me this exact week. And I mean, simple is completely and utterly powerful, and being real is powerful. You're being real when you're in the moment, right? And we are all living real lives. We don't want to like always talk about things that aren't reachable for everyone. We want to talk about what we're going through too. Okay. So the next time you feel like you have nothing to talk about, just remember that you already have everything you need. Your life is basically your content if you're willing to share it. So I hope that this episode was helpful. I mean, this happens to me a lot where I just draw a blank and I don't even know what to talk about, but somehow I always come up with something. So if you've been listening for a while now and you're loving the show, don't forget to hit that follow button and subscribe to my email list where I share tips, tricks, and things I don't always share on this podcast. Until next time, happy content creating. Okay, it's not as hard as we think. We always overthink it. But if all else fails, just survive till bedtime.